Hi, I'm Sara Fade of the Middle Country Public Library, and I'd like to welcome you to another episode of History Bites. Today we will spotlight women who have made major contributions to space travel and science. Two important women who were instrumental in aiding space travel were Katherine Johnson and Nancy Grace Roman. Katherine Johnson was born in White Sulphur Springs, West Virginia in 1918, and her intense curiosity and brilliance with numbers vaulted her ahead several grades in school. By 13, she was attending the high school on the campus of historically black West Virginia State College. At 18, she enrolled in the college itself, where she made quick work of the school's math curriculum. She graduated with highest honors in 1937 and took a job teaching at a black public school in Virginia. When West Virginia decided to quietly integrate its graduate schools in 1939, West Virginia State's President, Dr. John W. Davis, selected her and two men to be the first black students offered spots at the state's flagship school, West Virginia University. She left her teaching job and enrolled in the graduate math program. It wasn't until 1952 that a relative told her about open positions at the all-black West Area Computing Section at the National Advisory Committee for Aeronautics, or known as NACA, Langley Laboratory, headed by fellow West Virginian Dorothy Vaughan. Katherine and her husband decided to move the family to Newport News, Virginia, to pursue the opportunity, and Katherine began working at Langley in the summer of 1953. Just 2 weeks into her tenure in the office, she was assigned to a project in the Maneuver Loads branch of the Flight Research Division. She spent the next 4 years analyzing data from flight tests and worked on plane crash investigations. In 1958, NACA was incorporated into the newly formed NASA, National Aeronautics and Space Administration. At NASA, Johnson was a member of the Space Task Group. In 1960, she co-authored a paper with one of the group's engineers about calculations for placing a spacecraft into orbit. It was the first time a woman in her division received credit as an author of a research report. She also played an important role in NASA's Mercury program of crewed spaceflights, where she calculated the path for Freedom 7, the spacecraft that put the first U.S. astronaut in space, Alan B. Shepard Jr. Johnson was also part of the team that calculated where and when to launch the rocket for the Apollo 11 mission of 1969, which sent the first 3 men to the moon. Johnson later worked on the Space Shuttle program before retiring from NASA in 1986. Born in 1925, Nancy Grace Roman showed an interest in science and math early on. Her mother sparked her curiosity in astronomy when she introduced her to the constellations and northern lights in the northern Michigan sky where she lived as a young girl. At the time she joined NASA in 1959, the agency was only 6 months old. She found the environment there welcoming and said that she was readily accepted as a scientist in her job, stating, "I felt that the team treated me as one of the team without a problem." She was known as the mother of Hubble. Her work was instrumental in establishing NASA's program of space-based astronomical observatories, including the creation of the Hubble Space Telescope, which was launched into orbit in 1990. In addition to being the agency's first Chief of Astronomy, she was the first woman to hold an executive position at the organization. Sally Ride was born on May 26, 1951. Ride grew up in Los Angeles and went to Stanford University, where she was a double major in physics and English. She received her bachelor's degree in both subjects in 1973. However, she continued to study physics at the university, earning a master's degree in 1975 and a PhD in 1978. After Stanford, Dr. Sally Ride beat out 1,000 other applicants for a spot in NASA's astronaut program. She went through the program's rigorous training program and got her chance to go into space and the record books in 1983. On June 18, Ride became the first American woman in space aboard the Space Shuttle Challenger. As a mission specialist, she helped deploy satellites and worked on other experiments on multiple missions. Ride also served on the Presidential Commission that investigated the Space Shuttle Challenger explosion. After NASA, Ride became the director of the California Space Institute at the University of California, San Diego, as well as a professor of physics at the school in 1989. In 2001, she started her own company to create educational programs and products known as Sally Ride Science to help inspire girls and young women to pursue their interests in science and math. Succumbing to cancer in 2012, she will always be remembered as a pioneering astronaut who went where no other American woman had gone before. Mae Jemison was born on October 17th of 1956 in Decatur, Alabama. She is the youngest child of Charlie Jemison, a roofer and carpenter, and Dorothy Green Jemison, an elementary school teacher. Throughout her early school years, Jemison's parents were supportive and encouraging of her talents and abilities. She spent a considerable amount of time in her school library reading about all aspects of science, especially astronomy. When she graduated high school in 1973, as a consistent honor student, she entered Stanford University on a National Achievement Scholarship. She received a Bachelor of Science degree in Chemical Engineering from the university in 1977. Upon graduation, she entered Cornell University Medical College, and during her years there, found time to expand her horizons by studying in Cuba and Kenya and working at a Cambodian refugee camp in Thailand. After Jemison obtained her MD in 1981, she interned at the Ally County University of Southern California Medical Center and later worked as a general practitioner. For the next 2.5 years, she was the area Peace Corps medical officer for Sierra Leone and Liberia, where she also taught and did medical research. Following her return to the U.S., Jemison made a career change and decided to follow a dream she had nurtured for a long time. She applied for admission to NASA's astronaut training program and was one of the 15 candidates chosen from a field of about 2,000. On June 4th of 1987, Jemison became the first African-American woman to be admitted into the NASA astronaut training program and the first African-American woman astronaut, earning the title of Science Mission Specialist, a job that would make her responsible for conducting crew-related scientific experiments on the space shuttle. When Jemison finally flew into space on September 12th of 1992, she became the first African-American woman in space. Following her historic flight, Jemison noted that society should recognize how much both women and members of other minority groups can contribute if given the opportunity. After leaving the astronaut corps in March of 1993, Jemison accepted a teaching fellowship at Dartmouth. She also established the Jemison Group, a company that seeks to research, develop, and market advanced technologies. Kalpana Chala was born in Karnal, India on March 17, 1962, and was the youngest of 4 children. Chala enjoyed flying from an early age and aspired to become an aerospace engineer, and was active in a local flying club where she grew up. After completing her engineering degree in India, Chala immigrated to the U.S. in the 1980s. She earned a doctorate in aerospace engineering from the University of Colorado in 1988, having previously obtained her master's degree from the University of Texas. She began working at NASA's Ames Research Center the same year, working on power-lift computational fluid dynamics. Chala's first opportunity to fly in space came in November of 1997, aboard the Space Shuttle Columbia, and then again in 2003, serving as a mission specialist on STS-107. Over the course of her 2 missions, Chala logged 30 days, 14 hours, and 54 minutes in space. After her first launch, she said, "When you look at the stars and the galaxy, you feel that you are not just from any particular piece of land, but from the whole solar system." She was tragically killed on the Space Shuttle Columbia during re-entry in February 2003. Women are leading the effort to send astronauts back to the moon. The Artemis program consists of Sharon Cobb, who leads the team that designed and built the powerful space launch system, Laura Palaia, who helped build the Orion capsule, Stephanie Wilson, an astronaut who could fly on one of the missions, and Charlie Blackwell Thompson, the first female launch director. 9 women are among the 18 astronauts who will train for NASA's upcoming Artemis missions, with the goal of sending humans back to the moon and eventually to Mars. NASA has also pledged that the Artemis project will send the first woman to the moon. Half the group are experienced flyers, such as Christina Koch, who just set the record for the longest duration spaceflight for a woman. This is the group that will lead us to the moon and beyond. I'd like to thank you all for joining us for today's episode. If you enjoyed it, click like, and if you watched on YouTube, hit subscribe. Thanks so much, and we'll see you all next time.